Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Football United TV. Thanks for tuning in. Recently, we've done some great vlogs. If you're new to the channel and you haven't already, please do subscribe. We're back with regular. Well, you haven't been on for a while, have you, mate? How are you doing?
You might have to start calling me irregular, I think. Irregular Spurs fan Joe. But yeah, no, it's been a while, mate. We've all been living the COVID life. But yeah, no, it's good to have you back, to be back on the channel, especially when we've got such huge news as what's been going on with Tottenham. So yeah, no, I am good. Honestly, this is a good thing, what's going on with us. And very, very happy to be here talking about something pleasant to do with Tottenham after last week's debacle. So
yeah, exactly. It's been a nice way to go into the next fixtures, isn't it? And I pretty much wanted to ask you straight away to get straight into it, Joe. What impact will Bale have in the dressing room? What do you think he's going to do for the players around him, especially like Son and Kane?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's, to be honest with you, that is one of the main reasons I think why a club who have previously always signed younger, promising talent have brought a player like Gareth Bale in. I mean, Levy brought in Mourinho kind of for the same reason that he's bringing in Bale. He brought in Mourinho because you needed a winner in basically a team full of losers, to put it bluntly. And I think that Bale, he does that. I mean, if after watching that Amazon documentary, well, minus the last episode, I haven't watched it. I've watched most of it. And Mourinho talks a lot at half time about, you need to be this, you need to be that, you need to be nasty, you need to press high. And after a while, it starts sounding a bit repetitive. And I start thinking, well, if the players don't have the manager to listen to, they need one of the players with that kind of caliber like Mourinho has. You need someone actually on the pitch to do that. And that's exactly what Gareth Bale does. I mean, 4 Champions Leagues, 2 La Liga titles, various domestic cups in Spain. I mean, we basically let this guy go to Madrid. He won everything you can win in football, and now we're having him back to hopefully have the same influence on us. And I watched the press conference for the Lokomotiv Plovdiv game yesterday, and Eric Dyer was basically asked a question, and he was asked various questions about Gareth Bale, and he didn't really want to answer any. But then one very clever journalist asked a question about Joe Hart. And I could see straight through what this guy was doing. He said, what was it like having someone like Joe Hart joining the team? And I knew what he was doing. What he was basically doing is he was getting Dyer to talk about Bale, but under the pretense of talking about Joe Hart. So Dyer basically goes, well, the guy's won multiple leagues. The guy's a winner. He's coming into a team. He can bring his experience with him. And he was basically talking exactly as if he was asked about the question about Gareth Bale, what Gareth Bale would do. And I think that that's basically what the impact is. I think you're having a player walk in who can basically give competition as well, because I think one of the problems with Spurs, especially the back end of last season and last week's game, is that these players are too comfortable in their positions. These players don't fear being axed. You know what I mean? Like Harry Kane, until we sign another striker, or even if we sign another striker, he's never going to lose his spot. And it's the same for the likes of Ali and Moura and players like that. They're first team players at the minute because we don't have any other options. And I think that whilst I'm sure Bale can integrate with these players in the starting lineup, just having a presence like that to come in and say, well, one of you can't play now because I'm in the team. So that means everyone has to raise their game. So I think that's basically, that's what I'm talking about when I say the impact in the dressing room. That's really it. One player can raise the entire team.
We can. I mean, I'd look at it like Bruno Fernandes, how they got him in January, and the fact that we seem to go on a very good run as soon as he come in. It's strange that one player can make the whole team click. It's weird. But, I mean, How do you think, though, how do you think Bale will fit into the starting lineup, and what impact do you think he will have in the games coming up?
Well, I mean, I think that the thing with Bale is he's so adaptable. Like, you can move him around. If the game isn't going the way Mourinho wants it, he could potentially move him. I mean, I think that all the talk from the pundits and the fans so far is that he will be on the right, cutting in and shooting on his left foot. So it'll basically be a front three, the same as what Liverpool have got with Salah, Mane and Firmino. But our front three will be Son, Kane and Bale. However, he can play like a number 10 role as well. He can play central. I mean, someone joked today on YouTube, oh, it's a good job Bale is signing for Spurs because Jose loves a defender and he used to play left back, basically taking the mick like Mourinho plays defensive football. But to be honest with you, I think he slots in like left, right, centre. And the main thing I would say about having Bale in the starting lineup is that the game like last week against Everton, in which no players were grabbing the game by the scruff of the neck, that's the sort of thing a Gareth Bale can do. I mean, I remember numerous games in the last season he had before he went to Madrid where he won the game 1-0. I remember there was a goal against Sunderland that confirmed us top four that season, where he just absolutely leathered it in from 30 yards. And that's the sort of thing we need. I mean, Harry Kane, as good as he is as a player, I mean, obviously he's world class. He's not the sort of player that I think can play well when the rest of the team are playing badly. Whereas I think Gareth Bale can. With Harry Kane, I can maybe only think of maybe one game off the top of my head against Palace a couple of years ago. We won it 1-0 at Selhurst Park with a header from Harry Kane, where we were playing badly. But to be honest with you, he's a slow starter in games. He grows into games, Harry Kane. He is world class, don't get me wrong. But I generally think if you look over the games where Kane has played very well, the rest of the Tottenham team have played very well as well. And I think that almost kind of shows as well when Kane's been injured. I remember a couple of seasons ago, Kane was out for a while and we still won the majority of our games because the team was playing well. We were in form at that time. And I think that right now the team is not in form, but having Gareth Bale in the same way you talk about Bruno Fernandes coming in will give the whole team a lift. And I think that goals will come from unlikely places with Gareth Bale. It also means as well that we've got a spot kick taker again. I mean, Harry Kane is the cert for penalties, but we haven't had anyone that can hit a direct free kick since like the early days of Christian Eriksen. I mean, I can't think of any like direct free kicks that we've scored. And Eriksen scored one last season against Norwich, but it was like deflected in off the wall. I mean, if you're talking about someone who is one of the top players in world football at that simple craft of kicking a ball into the net from a spot kick, from a free kick, we now have a player that can do that. You know, he copied the Ronaldo method. He mastered it. I remember when he first went to Madrid, he started taking free kicks over Ronaldo, which surprised everyone, but he scored them, so it was okay. And this is what I mean when he slots into the team. A player like that slots in pretty effortlessly. And we talk a lot about new transfers. Do they have the right to just walk into the team? Gareth Bale has the right to walk into the team. He walks into this team, even at the age of 31, even though he's not as fast as he used to be, because he's walking into a team of players that need that winning mentality on the pitch. You know, fair enough, Lloris, he's a World Cup winner, but he's in goal. You need an outfield player with that status. I mean, let's be honest. Gareth Bale, fit and firing, could be a target for any club in the world. Your club, for example, Manchester United, you decided in this instance not to because I think maybe they're still, you know, hanging in for the Sancho deal to go over the line potentially. But he would go to United. I think Gareth Bale would probably go to any of the top teams in the Premier League as an option. But one of the reasons maybe why he likes Spurs so much is he's not just an option, he's plan A. You know, he goes straight into the team. And I think that's one of the reasons why I think he's so keen to go as well. You know, not many players come to a club and they meet their teammates and they get greeted with welcome home. You know what I mean? Most players come into a team and they're like, oh, you know, am I going to adapt here? Am I going to learn the language? Is this going to be right for my family? He's been there and he's done it. But this is not just Spurs being a retirement home for a player that's past it. I think Gareth Bale is still got a lot in the tank, a lot to give. He just needs to get games. And I've heard that he's going to be maybe a month training before he can come into the starting lineup. I'm hoping that, you know, the players can get some confidence from somewhere, even just from him being in the building, and we can get on a run of results so that by the time he does join, we're not completely out of the top four race altogether. So, yeah, in terms of him slotting in, I think he's effortless, mate, to be honest.
Joe, what do you remember that goal, the hat-trick he scored against Inter Milan? I'm guessing you probably remember at the San Siro.
Oh, I remember that, yeah.
He was playing left back then as well, right?
I think that was in a transition period where he was going from left back to more like sort of left wing. And he was kind of doing whatever he wants. I mean, I remember when this was after Harry Redknapp and the Inter Milan, but I remember even AVB saying we basically just let him play where he wants in the kind of way that you do with a pub team that has one player who's just really, really good and you let him run right. But I think he was going from a transition into more of a kind of attacking winger at that stage. But yeah, I mean, even prior to the Inter Milan game, I remember being at uni in 2007 or 8 or whenever it was, and he broke into the team from, you know, in an attacking sense under Redknapp. And I remember in fantasy league, just leaving him in the team. I mean, I remember playing against teams like Arsenal and Chelsea and going, well, do I think our left back is going to keep a clean sheet? Maybe not, but he's been attacking, really, really well recently. So leave him in the team, and he was just picking up points. And yeah, I mean, I don't see him playing left back again somehow.
I really hope,
especially not after signing a left back in, obviously today, hopefully as well, or tomorrow. But yeah, I mean, the Inter Milan game really sort of put him on the world stage, didn't it? And a game that that a lot of people forget that we actually lost, because it ended, I think, 4-3 to Inter, but then taxi for Mycon happened a couple of weeks later at White Hart Lane, and I think we beat them, I think 3-1 that night. So it was almost like that was just chapter one, and then we finished them off in the next leg. Not that it got us anywhere.
No, but it was a thrilling game to watch, and the fact that he did that, with the fact that you didn't expect him to have that in his locker, you know what I mean? And then suddenly you're like, wow. I think even Real Madrid stood up then and was like,
Well, I remember the Italian newspapers afterwards saying Inter Milan to sign Gareth Bale, like on the day after he'd scored a hat-trick at the San Siro, which I remember just thinking was ridiculous, to the point where I actually thought was kind of disrespectful to Tottenham as well, to suggest that Bale would go to Inter Milan because they're a much better team than Tottenham, and he doesn't have options elsewhere. I think they kind of thought, well, we'll get in first with this one. But no, I mean, I think that when he scored the hat-trick in the San Siro, all the top clubs started looking at him, I think. And I mean, he himself said that he was very comfortable at Tottenham at the time, but you don't turn down Real Madrid. And I feel like maybe he would have turned down Inter Milan, but he wouldn't. No player at that stage, and even really nowadays, most players don't turn down Real Madrid when they come knocking.
So, Joe, what does it mean, though, this transfer for the profile of the club? I mean, is this going to be something successful for Tottenham, or do you think it might go a bit pear-shaped, maybe? It might not work out. Do you have that worry?
No, I don't, to be honest, mate. No, because I think that I'm certainly one of these fans that's in the happy camp, as I'm sure it's obviously made that perfectly clear in this video so far. I'm very happy that he's coming. I don't think it's a bad signing. I think it works out something like 20 million for the loan. I haven't heard any official sources, but some of the Tottenham fans that were there to greet him on his way into the training ground to seal the deal today were talking about, someone said something about option to buy or option for a 1 year extension or something like that. But I think in terms of the profile of the club and what it does for us, I think it's really, really big. I mean, I think we're just off the back of, Champions League final a couple of seasons ago, the Amazon documentary, which is going to raise huge awareness about the club, especially in America. All the talk about NFL being played at the stadium, that raises awareness of the club as well in America. So we might get a lot of NFL fans who suddenly start being Spurs fans as well. I think that shirt sales alone are probably going to pay for the transfer. I mean, I remember being, again, when I was at uni, chatting to a guy who came into the student union one day, and he was wearing an Edgar Davids Tottenham shirt from way back in the 2000s. And I was like, I said, I didn't know you were a Tottenham fan. The guy was from Birmingham or something. He said, oh, no, I'm not. I just like collecting jerseys that have a big, that had a big impact on football at that time. And I think that, Bale in this season's Tottenham shirt could be a big seller worldwide, regardless of whose stripes or whatever you wear on the weekend normally. I think that this could be a big seller. So commercially, I think it's huge. I think from an emotional point of view as well, I mean, he's coming from a team that don't want him to a team that absolutely adore him. I mean, I think that in the Premier League era, I mean, I know we had lots of good players, your likes of your Ginolas and your Klinsmans and stuff. Was he Premier League era Klinsmann? I can't remember. But and obviously players like Robbie Keane, Berbatov. But I think really it was Gareth Bale that actually raised the level of Tottenham at that time from just a mid-table team to a team that should be challenging for Europe. It became just synonymous with Champions League contenders, that it was always going to be us and the likes of your Evertons and stuff. It was like, these are the teams that are now knocking on the top four. And no one thought of Tottenham like that before Gareth Bale. I think Gareth Bale was the first real superstar that we've had in the in the Premier League era. I mean, I think that the fact that he went for a record fee of 86 million at that time to Real Madrid says it all. I mean, Real Madrid didn't pay that much for Cristiano Ronaldo, and Gareth Bale has gone there. So I think that even that raised the profile of Tottenham. Like, look at this player that they've developed. Look what Tottenham have done to get a player this good to go to Real Madrid. So I think commercially, I think it's really good. And I think as well, it doesn't really, even if it's just 1 year or 2 years, I mean, he's 31 years old. We're not talking about a player for the future, obviously, but maybe it is just short-term success. But that short-term success, if he does well, obviously, leads to us being hopefully back in the Champions League, which then leads to us being able to attract top talent again. I think a club like us with the, paying off a new revolutionary state-of-the-art stadium, we need that Champions League football, and players like that come in. I mean, it's interesting as well, if Gareth Bale was to stay for 2 years, the general shelf life of Mourinho in a job is 2 years. That's normally how long he stays at a club before he moves on. So if he can get success in 2 years and leave the club in a better state than it was when he arrived, Bale and Mourinho have both basically done their jobs. This is why we're going for players like Doherty, who's 28, instead of more 20-year-old championship player prospects, one for the future. Spurs fans are sick of one for the future now, and I'm sure as a United fan, you must feel that way as well. You're sick of one for the future. When you're watching your biggest rivals like Liverpool and City winning titles and Champions Leagues and stuff, no more one for the future. You need success now. And I think of all the clubs in the Premier League, a club like Tottenham, who haven't had a great history of success in the Premier League era, or ever really. I mean, if you compare us to our rivals, we haven't had a great history of success, at all. Now is the time for success on the pitch, and we are really, really sick of all this. Well, he's one for the future. I'm sick of seeing promising players come to us for a couple of years and then go off and play for someone else because they weren't able to bed him in, or we didn't give him a chance. Now is the time. When you bring in a player like a manager, like Mourinho, you don't bring him in to basically bring this new, fresh philosophy with young players and stuff. You bring him in to get results on a game-by-game basis. He might not have a philosophy for this is how we play every week. Maybe more a philosophy of attacking football against the more minnow teams. But when it comes to playing the likes of you lot and other big teams, maybe he will be more defensive. But I don't think Spurs fans will mind if we're back in the top four. I think to say that Bale could win us the title, I'm a realist, and I would say no, certainly not this season. Next season, if we're back in the Champions League, if we sign better players, if Mourinho uses his contacts and Levy gets his checkbook out, maybe next season for the title. But this year, I think Spurs fans will be happy with the top four finish. And if you can win a trophy along the way, even better.
So you're happy with Bale, and of course you've got Reguilon. I don't know how you pronounce his name. I hear so many people trying to do it.
I think Reguilon is fine from British people. I mean, I think Spanish would say like Reguilon or something like that. You could get Bills in to tell you how to say it in Spanish. But no, I think he's a really good signing as well. I mean, I think all of us after Project Restart, I think we were very much watching games that maybe we wouldn't normally watch because we were just so excited to have football back. I mean, not me, because I generally watch all Europa League, all Champions League, all Premier League because I'm just a junkie for it. But I was impressed with him for Sevilla. I remember watching analysis after the games. They were talking about how a lot of their attacks had come through him. And they mentioned, obviously, he was on loan from Real Madrid. And I just remember thinking, well, he'll be back at Madrid next season then. The fact that we've managed to get him, I think is fantastic. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Man United clearly didn't like the buyback clause element of it. I mean, I think Levy probably doesn't like that either. However, as I say, we are talking about success on the pitch now. And if he's a player that Real Madrid buy back next year or the year after, if his attacking prowess has got us a top four finish, we'll get whatever 40 million euros or whatever back for him that can go towards another left back or spread that out across the team and and bring in more players. Not to mention the extra money we'd get from being in the Champions League anyway. However much it's worth, something like somewhere in the excess of 100 million, I think it's worth being in the Champions League. So no, I mean, I think, yes, the buyback clause for Reguilon, the fact that Bale is just a loan, these things don't worry me. I think that the team needs a big kick up the arse, basically. I think after that Everton game, you could see it. They need they need to feel less comfortable in their positions, and they need to realise that you've got an influx of new talent now who are hungry for it, and they need to be hungry as well. So yeah.
So Joe, to quickly wrap it up, who are you playing, and what do you think the result's going to be? And because I can't actually remember who you're playing now, just completely.
It's Southampton. It's Southampton Sunday at 12:30. I mean, I am so glad that last night Spurs managed to win that game in normal time, because it looked for a while, when Locomotive were winning 1-0, it looked for a while that it might, after we equalised, that it might go to extra time. But I was so glad we managed to wrap that up in 90 minutes, because extra time and possibly penalties was the last thing I wanted, in an already packed schedule when you're having to go to play an early kickoff on a Sunday. But no, yeah, we're going to Southampton. I mean, to be honest with you, after the Everton game, I would have said, well, I'm a bit worried. I mean, Hasenhüttl's got Southampton playing well. There's a lot of belief in their team. I think that they're going to be going for, top 6 this season. I think is what the fans expect at Southampton, because they've got some great. Danny Ings, I think, was fantastic for them last year. I mean, his value has gone up tenfold. I mean, even Spurs apparently want to bring him in, but I think he sees himself as Southampton's Harry Kane. So I don't think he would see himself as a backup to Harry Kane. But to be honest with you,
just to point in about Danny Ings, yeah. De Bruyne voted him the best player in the Premier League last season.
Well, and I mean, I wouldn't go that far, but I mean, I certainly think that towards the back end of last season, he was really showing the player that I think Liverpool had hoped that they would have signed, but unfortunately due to injuries, they didn't get it. But in terms of how I think the game's going to go against Southampton, a lot of the things that Southampton were criticised for in their opening game, where they lost, I think, 2-0, was the same stuff that we were criticised for not pressing hard enough, for not being aggressive enough. So I think that both us and Southampton are probably coming into this game thinking, well, this one could go either way. I don't think that just because we played really poorly against Everton, that they for 1 minute think that they're all of a sudden the favourites for the game. No, I don't think they think that. They're going to look at that team sheet and they're going to see the names of the Spurs players. They're going to see the likes of Kane and Son, and they're going to be like, right, well, there's goals in this team. They've just come off the back of a win in Europe, in Bulgaria. Might have been a bit of a scrappy win, but a win nonetheless, which breeds confidence. I mean, it's really hard to say, Matt, to be honest with you. I mean, I think just for the sake of being upbeat, I'm going to say we win the game 2-1. Yeah.
I said to another Tottenham fan, I think you saw the vlog the other day, I said 2-0 to Tottenham.
Yeah, I mean, I don't trust us not to concede a goal, unfortunately. But I mean, I think that the imminent transfers, the buzz around the club, the fact that the fans are all, absolute hysteria. I mean, I watched the video of the fans at the training ground when Bale was pulling in his car to seal the deal, and they're all cheering, singing the Bale songs from 7 years ago. I'm hoping that lifts the players on Sunday, and they realise, look, we've got some serious talent with Bale and Reguilon coming into the team now. We need to be a team that is worthy of that talent, and we need to put on a performance against Southampton. And then everyone will stop talking about the Everton game. One win against Southampton, everyone stops talking about the Everton game. The Everton game was poor, but let's be honest. Chelsea, a new-look Chelsea side, got hammered 4-0 against Man United on the opening day last season, and they ended up finishing 4th. So I think to say that, that it's all Mourinho out after one game is just hyperbole. And I think that, we'll wait to see how they perform against Southampton. Not going to be easy. A tough side away from home after you've just been to Bulgaria and played on, whatever disgrace that is that they call a pitch out there. It's not going to be an easy game, but you've got to be positive. I'm going to say 2-1.
Cool. I was going to say actually as well, I think Gareth Bale's been playing golf, hasn't he, today with Daniel Levy, and I can't remember the name of the other guy who deals with transfers or whatever, but
Steve Hitchin or something like that, isn't it?
Correct. That's correct.
That sounds right.
Steve Hitchin. Yeah. So I'm guessing that's.
Let's hope he doesn't do his back in.
Never good. No, I'm probably guessing that you're probably wanting to get 4 in your next game or whenever you.
Whenever that game, I would love that. Whenever that game is. One thing I'll say about the golf though is I think that there is a correlation between good golfers and good footballers. Harry Kane is a very good golfer, and if you see the way he pings Beckham-esque balls into his players, because Harry Kane's a great striker, but he's also a great service as well. And I think if you're really, really good with your angles and with your depth perception and how hard you hit the ball depending on where you need it to go, a lot of that golf skills can transfer to football as well. I believe that, or maybe the football skills transfer to golf. I'm not sure. One or the other.
Brilliant, mate. Should we wrap it up there, Joe? You cool with that?
Yeah, definitely, mate. Let's do it.
Anything else on your chest that you want to get off quickly, just to let
No.
Well done.
It's been nice chatting to you again, mate. But I think I've said everything. Really, really buzzing about Bale. Just looking forward to the announcement.
I'd love to get you on with the other two Tottenham fans as well. They love a good chat about Spurs, man. Definitely.
Yeah. No worries.
And you're very articulate in the way you see things and you express yourself, and it's very nice to have you on and be able to tell people this is another point of view. You know what I mean? Like some Tottenham fans might not feel the same, and that's okay.
No, but the thing is, Matt, is I wouldn't come on if I didn't have anything to say. I wouldn't just appear on the camera. So that's why I'm articulate, because I know what I'm going to say.
Joe, thank you very much for joining us today, and everybody else, thank you for tuning in. Check out our vlogs below. We did one this morning. We did a few this week. We did one with Have Hope from Have Hope's Football Hut. Go check him out too. Thanks for helping us out, mate. And Joe, thank you for helping out.
Cheers, mate. See you soon.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.